Stories that are untold, underreported, and all-out inspirational. Carrie Pena reports.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Pena. Thank you so much for listening to Carrie Pena Reports on iTunes and Stitcher, and for watching our live feeds on Facebook and YouTube. You can always find us online at inspiredmedia360.com. So we are back from a short break. We've been off for a few months working on our brand new podcast, our second podcast. It is called Transformation Tuesday. Very excited about this show. We've been interviewing experts in health, wellness, business, and finance, and talking in depth about how we can transform and become better. You can check it all out on transformationtuesday.tips, and we'll have more as the season progresses. We'll be sharing that with all of you. In studio today, Jennifer Caraway, who is here to share a very inspirational story. And Jennifer, I've heard so much about you. I'm excited to have you in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
So we are going to be talking today about how you really were able to overcome very serious obstacles in your life and become extremely successful in the restaurant industry. And you are the founder of the Joy Bus. So much to talk about, and you are spreading joy. But it wasn't easy to get to where you are today. So we're going to talk about how it is that you continued to have hope for your future in the face of some really trying times. When you were 15 years old, you left home.
Correct.
And I know this is difficult, and I don't think you've shared this story that much.
I have not. No.
Thank you for agreeing to open up today, because it is a big part of what motivates you and who you are today.
True.
And I know this is sensitive, but you grew up in a home with an alcoholic father, mm-hmm. and it was an abusive situation. Can you tell us a little bit about what you went through?
It was an extremely abusive situation. I began running away, at the age of 7. I think the first time I ran away was kindergarten, and I took my little brother with me. I had been just trying to escape the abuse my entire life. So there was more running away than actually staying away in the earlier years, until the last time when I did leave and returned home, and everything I owned was on the front lawn in a black garbage bag, and the locks had been changed.
15 years old.
Correct.
What did you feel like in that moment? I mean, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and how you even think about what to do next when you're in high school and your family has literally said, don't come back.
I don't know if it was more of that I felt devastated or abandoned or relieved that now I didn't have to go back, because the abuse was throughout the years, and it got progressively worse as the drinking got worse. And I think that although I was at a loss of how I was going to survive on my own, I think it was more of a relief that I was free and I didn't have to go back. There wasn't an option at that point.
So what did you do?
I started staying with various friends till their parents would find out. One of my best friends at the time, Christiane, her parents, I think it took them a couple months, but I just would hop around. There was probably only a handful of nights that I actually had to sleep on the street, because I had jobs always, so I knew older people than myself as well. So not necessarily that it was easy, but I had options of just kind of floating around and figuring out where to go. And then I had a vehicle. And then once I had my vehicle, then it was a Volkswagen bus, and that was a perfect scenario for me, because I was able to pull that up either at my high school or wherever and just sleep in that.
See, your story is so incredible to me, because something inside of you was a fire burning that you knew you had to find a way.
Correct.
And we're going to be talking about the success that you've achieved, but I wonder what it was. That you saw this future even though the darkness was right in front of you?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know if it was more of my wanting to be like, I don't need you, I can do it, like I've got this, or if it was literally like just survival mode, because I knew I knew that I could accomplish anything I put my mind to. So it was just driving me to go towards what I wanted.
Did you feel depressed as you were going through this, or were you, as you said, kind of relieved and excited about what you could see once you got out into the world?
I don't think I was necessarily depressed, more as driven. And at that point, it was towards a high school degree, which it would have been much easier for me at that point just to go take the GE test. And in retrospect, maybe that's what I should have done. But there was something in me that piece of paper meant something to me, more of like a proof that I don't need anyone, that I can pull it off, I can do it. And so that really drove me to make sure that I got to school every day, to make sure I kept my job, make sure I was eating. It really was a driving force at that point to keep me going.
So even when you were sleeping in your van, then what, you just woke up the next morning and got dressed and went to school, then went to work and figured it out?
Just figured it out.
So after you graduated high school and then you ended up moving to Portland, and you had this interest in the food industry. What was pulling you in that direction?
All of my jobs prior had been in the restaurant industry. I started out washing dishes, and then a line cook, and then front of the house, and then management. So it's really all I've really ever been good at or done. And so in the back of my head, I think I always wanted to own something. I've done everything else in the industry, so why not go there? And so when I had moved to Portland, I moved there to play in a band. I got a job at a bar, bartending, and next door there was a small Korean restaurant, and I just went in there every day and asked her if she wanted to sell, and eventually she said yes. I had a few $1,000s saved up, and the owner of the bar lent me the rest of the money, and I opened it up.
So with $10,000 total, right?
Yes.
You were able to open up your own restaurant. Mm-hmm. And then you turned it into a Mexican restaurant. Yep. And you ended up selling that for what, $90,000?
I think in a little under a year.
A little under a year. Mm-hmm. What did you do that was so successful with that turnaround? I
think I was just really lucky. The timing, there wasn't that concept there at the time that I was living in Portland. Like here in Arizona, I mean, growing up here, there's Mexican food everywhere. Like I think I just got there at a time that it was needed. And I think, and I've lived in Mexico, so I'm fluent in Spanish. I can cook Mexican, I think. My kids think. Does that count for something? So it was a little bit of a draw as well. And I think, honestly, a lot of it just had to do with the timing.
So how did you have the confidence to make this happen? Because what strikes me is what you went through could have totally shattered your confidence, especially as a young woman out there on your own, not feeling very loved by your parents, in fact, rejected by your parents. How did you have the confidence to go and make that business deal happen?
I don't know if necessarily it's confidence more than it's, I'm going to prove you wrong, which is probably a very negative way to look at it. But I think that not caring what other people think and just going for it and doing it, I think has a lot to do internally of why I've made it as far as I had, rather than the confidence that, oh, I'm amazing and smart and I'm sure I can pull it off. I think it's more to the first part that I brought up, unfortunately.
So you don't have a fear of failure?
None. No.
How is that?
Because I've fallen so many times, and I'm very well aware of how easy it is to get back up.
And that has really brought you to where you are today. So you've gone on to open other restaurants.
Yes.
And you've been successful in doing so. And then along the way, you met a friend who, it seems to me, has left a lasting impact on your life. And it led to you founding the Joy Bus. Let's talk about your friend Joy.
Joy was amazing. Joy was a better human than I can ever hope to be. Just a very giving, joyful person. And when she became ill with ovarian cancer, her support system jumped in, took amazing care of her. Her best friend would drive all the way from the East Valley to hang out with her. My only way that I knew how to give her comfort and show her that I loved her was by making food. So I would come visit and bring food. And it was kind of that just sparked the interest of, there's probably people like Joy out there that don't have the support system that she has. So I decided to create the Joy Bus in her honor and start delivering meals to homebound cancer patients.
What was it like for you to lose someone who had meant so much to you?
It was devastating. It's just devastating when you watch somebody just deteriorate in front of your eyes, and it's devastating to see their family just deteriorate in front of your eyes. It's a devastating disease. And unfortunately, after her passing, I put myself in a position to where I'm surrounded by that disease. So all I can do is do the best I can, and we have amazing volunteers and community who do what they can to help.
So tell me what the Joy Bus is, and it's growing.
Yes, definitely. Well, we started in 2012, the end of 2011, 2012. And what we do is we prepare and deliver free chef-inspired meals to homebound cancer patients. We go to the farm every week, and Farmer Frank donates produce to us. And then from that, we prepare the meals. And I have amazing, amazing volunteers who, since our inception, has turned it into more of a companionship service, coupled with the food, rather than my initial vision was just all about food. So I'm super grateful that the volunteers saw more in my vision than I had envisioned and just made it rad. It's just such a great organization due to them.
Well, and because you are a successful restaurateur, you wanted the food to be beautiful food.
Correct.
Like you said, you source locally. You make it so that they feel like they are going out to a restaurant.
Yes.
How has that felt for you? Your life was tough in the beginning, and it strikes me that you've made it your mission to help others in what you do, to try to soften the blow for other people who are going through whatever difficult roads they have to travel. What has that sort of full circle moment been like?
You know what? I feel very, very lucky, because I think prior to doing the Joy Bus, I had a very bitter attitude, like a chip on my shoulder, thinking that everybody that's walking around is out for themselves, that there's no good humans out there. Everybody's just looking to go make a dollar, spend a dollar. All they care about is them. And since I started the organization, I've been put in a position to not only help, but I've been put in a position where I get to see good humans every single day that come volunteer at the diner or who volunteer to deliver a meal. But these are genuinely amazing humans. And that's the kind of people I get to see every single day. So I feel so blessed that I'm in this position.
It strikes me as you say this. So a lot of folks who might be listening or watching this show, very honest what you said, that you at one point looked out in the world and thought, hey, everyone's in it for themselves. What advice do you have to people in making that, at least opening themselves up to that mindset shift?
I would say put yourself in an uncomfortable position. Go volunteer. There's humans out there who really do care and want to make a difference. And I don't think unless you're putting yourself out there and maybe be uncomfortable, go find a cause that you're passionate about and just show up. Find another cause and just show up. Like, you'll be surrounded by people who really do genuinely want to make a difference in this world.
From the Joy Bus, now you've built a brick and mortar, because you were running the Joy Bus basically using your own kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And so you guys are growing. Tell me where you are today, because I love anything that is an idea that grows into something so beautiful, in particular when it's meant to help others.
Well, just so you know, my board thought I was insane. They were not down with the Joy Bus Diner idea at all. I mean, as we know,
they're like, just keep it on the bus.
Totally.
We're doing good on the bus.
A restaurant? Are you sure? But it made sense in my head. We were going to incur the cost of the lease regardless, because I had outgrown my home. And so why not have the community presence open to the public, and then 100% of the proceeds will fund our programs. So it gives us the lease space that we need for the patient meals, and it gives us that presence. And since we've opened a year and a half ago, we went from roughly 12 to 15 home visits each week to 50.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you see the people whose lives you're touching, it has to just make you feel like, I can keep going.
It does. It does. I'm so blessed. I mean, there's a lot of crying involved, but if I can do something to help someone and make their journey just a little bit less painful, then I'm stoked.
You wrote to me and you said, I asked you, how do you use your story to inspire others? And you said, I truly believe that you can accomplish anything you put your mind to, absolutely anything. My childhood was not ideal, but by hard work and a disturbing amount of determination, I've been able to accomplish my dreams. You do not need a silver spoon, an Ivy League education, or adoring parents to make a difference. You just need to work hard, very hard, and don't give up. What do you want people to take away from your story?
Don't give up. You can do anything. I'm such a true believer in that. I mean, look at me. Not that I'm amazing or anything, but I got here by my own accord, just working really, really hard.
How did you stop yourself along the way from feeling sorry for yourself? I think that's one of the things that gets in people's way sometimes when they come from a situation like you've come from. And I do want to say that, we didn't want to go, there's privacy concerns, so we didn't go too deep, but you went through an extremely disturbing childhood. And you're here today being interviewed and being awarded by an amazing organization, the Florence Crittenton, with the Hope Award.
So honored. I'm so honored. I don't know. I just think that being a victim allows them to win. And like I said, maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, but it was that determination to overcome what I experienced that drove me as well, just to keep going.
You were determined not to be a victim.
Exactly.
What does hope mean to you? Since you're receiving this beautiful award, what does the word hope mean to you?
I think it means anything's possible.
You're living proof.
I am.
Where can people find you?
They can find me at the Joy Bus Diner every single day of my life or at thejoybus.org.
And also you're making an appearance on Chopped, so you're on national TV now too. You're burning up the trail, lady.
I'm trying to keep going.
Many congratulations. I love everything you're doing. I'm going to have to come and visit you at your restaurant. And I mean, women like you, it's one restaurant today. You'll have like a franchise going and like you'll be putting like McDonald's out of business in no time flat because you make things happen.
My board is going to love you for that.
Thank you so much for being here. Really loved talking with you today. And thanks for listening, everyone, to Carrie Pena Reports. You can find us online at inspiredmedia360.com. Until next time, stay inspired.